I have never been so frustrated with a zoning officer as I have with this one. I'm trying to calm myself down here before I go to this event. So let's run through what's going on. So I get a call from the client. Hey, project got rejected in zoning. I'm like, well, that's interesting. I know the new ordinance pretty well. I know there's been some things I haven't caught because they just put it out in February, and every once in a while there's a line I just didn't get to. But this is a two-family house. Regulations are pretty clear. So, information about the lot. 25 by 90 something. So the ordinance says if you're doing a subdivision, you need a lot that's at least 25 wide, and it needs to be at least 2,500 square feet. Sort of requiring that you make a 25 by 100 lot minimum. But this is an existing lot, and there's a line in the ordinance that says existing lots can stay as they are. They realized they were getting a lot of variance applications for these two-family houses on lots that were less than 25 by 100, so they got rid of the requirement of the lot area per dwelling unit for a two-family. Essentially saying, as long as you're in a two-family zone, you can build a two-family house. Logical, fair, okay. Then they also realized that if it's less than 100 feet deep, the 30-foot rear yard kind of doesn't make sense. So they came out with an alternative, which is 30 foot or a percentage of the lot depth, whichever is smaller. Perfect. So now we have this lot that's 90-something feet deep. Do the math. We only require a 28.5 foot rear yard. Fine. They also had these other requirements that were triggering variances that weren't really necessary. They used to do impervious coverage by front yard and rear yard percentages, which was weird because it didn't account for side yards. So they changed it. And they're like, okay, we're going to look at the building coverage on the lot and the impervious coverage on the whole site. Then we got into a conversation about impervious coverage, and this is where it all fell apart for me, just completely. Gonna get a little wonky, but this is the way I'm gonna explain the story. The allowable impervious coverage on the lot is 65%. I have the driveway, the walkway to the stairs, the house, and then a patio in the rear. That's it. That's what I'm showing on the site plan. She calls and she's like, hey, your impervious coverage is over. And I'm like, how is that possible? And for lack of better terms, I don't calculate it. I let the computer do it. I put in, I hit the button, it tells me the square footage, and I just divide that by the lot area, and there's no error, because it's not like I'm like, oh, well, this is this by this and that is that. But I just click it. This is the area. That's the square foot. Done. I even have a formula set up to do this, so I don't have to. 58%. That's where we're at. 58%. She calls me up, and she's runs, and I'm at the conference at this point, so I don't have my computer and stuff. So I'm like, I'll check it when I get back from the conference, and we'll compare notes. I get back, I calculate it, 58%, 57.86%, 58%. Call her up. I'm like, hey. Well, first, I don't get her. Then someone else, not her, gets back to me. And they're like, well, I can't actually speak on that because I wasn't the person who reviewed it. And I'm like, I know. I didn't call you. I called her. I don't know why she sent you to talk to me. Well, I do know. It's because she's wrong. So then she calls me back, 4:45 p.m., end of the day, no interest in talking to me. And she's like, you're wrong. I'm like, I don't see how. And I went through the square. I'm like, this is what it is. She's like, I will send you my calculations tomorrow morning. I don't have time for this. And I'm like, okay, cool. So tomorrow morning comes and goes. I'm in the building. So I'm like, you know what? It is noon. I'm in the building. I'm going to go down to her office. And she's like, I don't have a minute to talk to him. I'm too busy. I'm like, okay, cool. And they're like, have him email me. So I send her an email. She doesn't respond. I call. She doesn't respond. So then I sent an email with her and the client and someone else, and I'm just like, and the contractor, and I'm like, here it is. You said you were going to do this, you didn't do it, but I'm going to send you my calculations and, screen grabs of the site plan and everything. This is what it is. This is the area. Here's my calculations. Here it is. 57.85%. 58 is what I rounded to. We're still under 65. She doesn't respond. The client goes down there this morning. She's like, I can't speak to you right now, but like 20 minutes or whatever, I'll be able to. So he goes back 20 minutes later, and she sees him, and all she says is like, you need to tell your architect to change it. He didn't do what he was supposed to do, blah, blah, blah. And so then he's like, well, I have him on the phone right now. And so I'm like, ask her how she got to that number. And she's like, well, I'm going to put it in writing, and I'm going to send it to him. And I'll send it to you too and CC you. I'm like, please do. Because I put it in writing and sent it to you. And I was like, hey, client, you were on that email. You got it. And he's like, he's trying his best, like he's being as nice as possible, right? Like he's doing his thing as somebody who plans on doing more work there. And he walks out and he's like, I wanted to strangle, like just choke that fucking asshole. I'm just like, this is what like, you can't just make shit up. You can't just add things to the plan that are not there. That is not what you're allowed to do. You can review what is there. If there's something you think should be there that's not, like, here's an example. PSE&G, our energy company around here, they want a 3x3 concrete pad underneath their electric meters, or if it's a raised one because you're in a flood zone or something, they want like a 3x3 thing attached to the building that they can stand on. That's what they want. If I didn't show that on the plan, you could be like, I know PSE&G is going to ask for that. I need you to like review their regulations and make sure you're accounting for it. But you can't just make up numbers and tell me that's what they are. Like, you can't just say, because what she was doing was adding a walkway that was not there. There's no walkway. She's like, oh, well, people typically put the walkway. I'm like, that's fine. People typically can. I'm telling them not to. You can't just add 100 feet of walkway, or not 100, but like 60 feet of walkway because that's what you think's going to go there. It's not on my plan. If they do it, go back out there and fucking hit them with whatever you want. But it's not on my plan. I'm not proposing it. I'm not telling them to do it. They don't need it. That walkway wouldn't even do them shit anyway. It doesn't connect to anything. So I'm mad. I'm upset. I'm frustrated. And that's how my day's going. By the way, this is a beautiful church, isn't it? It's the Basilica Cathedral of the Sacred Heart. Is that right? I think that's the name of it. Down in Newark, New Jersey. I'm going here for an event that the Branch Brook Park Commission or whatever is hosting. It's a pretty long 4-hour event, and I'm late because I had to deal with that shit. So that's my day. Going well.